When we think about the fall of great empires, we usually picture massive armies clashing. But the story of the Hasmonean dynasty, a really powerful Jewish kingdom, is different. It didn't fall to some foreign invader. Nope. Its end came from right inside its own walls, a story of how a family feud can literally bring down an entire empire.
So it really begs the question, right? How does a nation lose its freedom? I mean, your first thought is probably some huge battle, invading armies pouring over the borders.
But here's the thing. The most dangerous threats, they're not always the ones you can see coming from the outside. Sometimes the real danger is already inside the gates. And for the Hasmoneans, their independence wasn't lost to some great emperor or a foreign king. It was lost because of a bitter, bitter rivalry between two brothers. Okay, so Section 1, a queen's golden age. But before everything fell apart, before the collapse, there was this incredible period of stability. And it was all thanks to one of Jewish history's only two ruling queens, a woman named Salome Alexandra. Man, her rule was just a masterclass in political balancing. Think about it. She brought back the Pharisees, a group the common people really looked up to, and that move alone secured a ton of internal stability. But she didn't stop there. She also kept a super strong professional army to protect the kingdom's borders. It really was a golden age for the Hasmonean dynasty. I mean, things were good. For 9 solid years, Judea was calm. It was peaceful. It was one of the most prosperous times in the dynasty's entire history. But you know how these stories go. Beneath that calm surface, a really dangerous conflict was starting to bubble up. All right, Section 2, the two rival brothers. And that conflict? It was all centered on the queen's two sons. And these guys, they were polar opposites. I mean, in just about every way you can imagine. Okay, so let's break this down. On one side, you've got Hyrcanus, the older brother. He's gentle, kind of passive, and he's totally aligned with the Pharisees, basically carrying on his mother's stable policies. Then on the other side, you have Aristobulus. He's younger, he's ambitious, he's bold, and he's backed by the Sadducees. That's the wealthy, aristocratic priest class who were itching to get their influence back. So you see, this wasn't just some simple family squabble. This was a battle for the very soul of Judea. Section 3, a kingdom divided. And then it happened. In 67 BC, Queen Alexandra died. And that delicate balance she had worked so hard to maintain, it just shattered, almost overnight. And the collapse happened with just shocking speed. I mean, look at this. Almost immediately, Aristobulus, the man of action, he makes his move. He seizes all the kingdom's military strongholds. And faced with that kind of aggression, what does the rightful heir, Hyrcanus, do? He just gives up. He abdicates the throne. But just when you think the conflict is over, a new player enters the game, someone who reignites the whole fight and plunges this once stable kingdom into a full-blown civil war. And that key figure, that new player, was a guy named Antipater. Now, Antipater saw Hyrcanus' weakness not as a problem, but as his own personal opportunity. He gets in Hyrcanus' ear, convinces the retired prince that his brother is eventually going to have him killed, and persuades him to fight back. But not on his own. Oh, no. He tells him to get help from the neighboring Nabatean kingdom. And that decision would change everything. Okay, Section 4. Enter Pompey the Great. Because the brothers couldn't sort this out themselves, they created this massive power vacuum. And guess who was more than willing to fill it? A new regional superpower, Rome. Now, this is where it gets really crazy. Believing they could actually use a powerhouse like Rome for their own ends, both Hyrcanus and Aristobulus appealed to the Roman general, Pompey the Great. I mean, what a fatal error. They literally invited a foreign power to come in and judge their nation's fate. And this moment just perfectly shows how completely fractured the kingdom had become. Think about it. It wasn't just the two brothers making their case to Pompey. A third group, representing the people themselves, went to Pompey and pleaded for something else entirely. They wanted to get rid of the monarchy altogether. The whole nation was just broken. So on to Section 5, the end of independence. You can probably guess what happens next. Pompey, seeing this perfect opportunity for Roman expansion, was, let's just say, unimpressed by the brothers' squabbling. He made a decision, all right, but it was based solely on what was best for Rome. But Aristobulus, he just completely miscalculated. When he and his supporters decided to defy Pompey's authority, the Roman general didn't hesitate. he marched straight for Jerusalem. The very same civil war the brothers had started had now brought foreign legions right to the gates of their holy city. After a brutal 3-month siege, the city fell. Roman soldiers stormed the Temple Mount. And the results of the brothers' ambition wasn't a crown for either of them, no. It was devastation and sacrilege in their most sacred place. So, in the end, neither brother really won. It's tragic, really. Aristobulus was dragged back to Rome and paraded through the streets in chains. Hyrcanus? He was left with a title, sure, but no actual kingdom to rule. And Judea itself lost its independence, becoming just another client state of the Roman Republic. Their personal rivalry didn't just cost them the throne, it cost their people everything. You know, the fall of the Hasmoneans is just such a timeless cautionary tale. The ambition of two brothers literally tore their kingdom apart, and in doing so, they paved the way for a foreign power to just walk in and take control. And it really leaves us with one crucial question to think about. When a nation is divided against itself, who truly wins?